Incorporating CSR and ESG in the business strategy of an organization entails a shift to long-term thinking that is aligned with sustainability targets. Therefore, the benefits of adopting ESG goals and aiming for sustainability overlap to a great extent. Following are some of the key arguments that favour such an approach. One of the simplest business cases for sustainability is that using fewer resources, or more sustainable ones, can decrease production costs. Development of sustainable business practices lends itself to efficient operation that streamlines effort and conserves resources, which enhances employee productivity and reduces cost. This can be experienced in the following areas. Operational efficiency in managing natural resources, such as energy and water, will lead to reducing waste and consequently reducing costs. Resource efficiency has been shown to increase operating profits. Strong ESG proposition will attract and retain talented and most productive employees. Examples of such organizations include Dow Chemical Company achieved reducing energy and wastewater usage. General Electric achieved reducing greenhouse gas emissions and water consumption. Walmart improved fuel efficiency of fleet. Nike achieved more efficient usage when cutting material for footwear. With depleting resources and climate crisis deepening, many governments are enacting regulations to protect the environment and integrate sustainability into businesses. Sustainable companies are better prepared to avoid the risk of being hit with regulatory fines. An analysis by McKinsey published in their quarterly review in November 2019 indicated that 1/3 of corporate profits could be at risk from state intervention and fines to protect the environment. This ranges from 25% for the pharmaceutical industry to 60% for the automotive, banking and technology sectors. Examples of such organizations include giant corporations such as BP and VW. On April 20, 2010, BP's Macondo well at Mississippi Canyon 252 blew out, killing 11 workers on board the doomed Deepwater Horizon drilling rig and causing the largest oil spill in US history. A series of human errors led to the catastrophic failure of the well, its control system, and ultimately the rig itself. What resulted from this one incident was an economic, political, scientific, and legal nightmare. It was largely settled when a federal district judge approved the largest environmental damage settlement in United States history, $20.8 billion on April 4, 2016. In 2009, Volkswagen developed and installed software that sensed when the car was being tested off the road by the Environmental Protection Agency, turning on the pollution controls only during the test. The system design made the diesel cars appear cleaner than they actually were. The scam was uncovered by the International Council on Clean Transportation in 2015 after it ran tests on the cars using actual on-road testing. According to VW officials, by 2020, the diesel cheating scandal had cost it $34.69 billion in fines and settlements. OECD defines externalities as situations where the effect of production or consumption of goods and services imposes costs or benefits on others which are not reflected in the prices charged for the goods and services being provided. Pollution is an example of a negative externality. Chemicals dumped by an industrial plant into a lake may kill fish and plant life, as well as affect the fishermen and farmers in the area. In contrast, a positive externality may arise, for example, from the construction of a road which opens a new area for housing, commercial development, tourism, etc. Another example is the invention of the transistor, which generated numerous positive externalities in the manufacturing of modern telecommunication, stereo, and computer equipment. Externalities arise when property rights cannot be clearly assigned. Negative externalities may arrive to societal costs as well as private costs, which lead to inefficient market outcomes. One potential solution may be a governmental intervention through imposing taxation on the polluters who will realise a cost as a result of their actions. Externalities adversely affecting the environment can be vast. global environmental damage could cost $23 trillion by 2050, impacting capital markets and global economic growth. Therefore, the implementation of stronger regulation concerning ESG issues will help towards mitigating the effects of negative externalities and leading to a sustainable world. Fiduciaries are organisations and professionals who manage other people's money, and they have a fiduciary duty to act in their beneficiaries' interests rather than serving their own interests. Some institutional investors use the materiality argument to avoid ESG, implying that ESG issues are not relevant to their portfolio value and therefore not consistent with their fiduciary duties. This assumption, however, is no longer supported, as decisions made by fiduciaries in their investment decision-making processes ultimately do have an impact on companies' practices. In fact, the work and actions of the United Nations Environment Programme Finance Initiative, the UN Principles for Responsible Investment, and the final report on fiduciary duty in the 21st century, resulting from their joint 4-year project in 2019, have concluded that investors have obligations and duties in relation to the incorporation of ESG issues. Failing to do so would be in breach of their fiduciary duties and could likely lead to legal liabilities. The fact that now fiduciaries have a clear obligation to incorporate ESG considerations in their investment practices and decision-making process will create a greater impact in the way companies are managed and how they implement their ESG strategies towards improving sustainability. Making the switch to sustainable business practices provides an opportunity for new, innovative ideas to grow. This may prove to be an opportunity for organisations to question the way an organisation operates. Investing in more sustainable practices can pay off in the form of risk management. By using renewable resources such as wind, water and solar power, companies have greater security over their energy sources. Furthermore, government regulations are only expected to increase and become stricter on protecting the environment. Acting in a proactive manner and integrating sustainability into a business will position it to meet changing regulations in a timely and effective manner. Being a sustainable company can have a big impact on the talent an organisation attracts and retains. Evidence seems to suggest that organisations that have a strong reputation for pursuing CSR activities and sustainability find it easier to attract and retain talented employees. A recent survey conducted by clean energy company Switch found that nearly 70% of employees report that their company's strong sustainability program impacts their decision to stay with it long term, while nearly 40% said that they've chosen a job in the past because the company performed better on sustainability than the alternative. A focus on sustainability can not only help attract and keep the right employees, but also build a broader, more loyal customer base. Research in the Harvard Business Review shows that sustainable businesses see greater financial gains than their unsustainable counterparts. In addition, consumers' motivation to buy from sustainable brands is on the rise. There is a huge unmet market potential among the world's developing economies that can only be met in sustainable ways that respect the environment and the local societies. Another outcome of opting for sustainability is the positive publicity it can garner, especially if it's a divergence from a business's previously established practices or industry standards. The switch to sustainability and investment in the environment can call for press releases and announcements. Side effects of this positive publicity can be employee pride, sustainably minded job applicants, and increased customer loyalty and referral rates. Competitive advantages also exist for sustainable businesses, such as improved image. Today, the number of consumers that consider a company's impact on the environment in deciding where to purchase goods and services and are more likely to purchase from companies that practice sustainable habits is on the rise. In a competitive market, any way to differentiate your product and brand from your competitors is valuable. ESG-sensitive and sustainable business practices can be a positive way for a business to stand out and possibly gain a competitive advantage where competitors haven't adopted those practices themselves or match them if they've already made the switch to sustainability. Furthermore, the risk of reputational damage by unethical practices that may lead to environmental damage or mistreatment of employees is significantly minimized. Business practices aligned with sustainability and ESG criteria not only help a company stand out against competitors, but also influences the behaviors of other industry participants. If an organization is a pioneer in its field by adopting sustainable practices, it can then set its business apart as a trend-setting leader and prompt other companies to follow suit. Ben & Jerry's is considered as a pioneer in the field and stands out because of its novel initiatives in relation to ESG. See Box 5.2 and Ben & Jerry's Social and Environmental Assessment Report for 2020.